Hey there, YouTube. It's been a while. We're back with another drum DIY. So our project today is that we need to move this mount from a Yamaha Stage Custom drum set, as well as one of these drum heads, to this busted up Premier snare drum. Because our goal is to have a mountable snare drum for our auxiliary percussion rack for the marching band. So that's the best solution we found that doesn't involve buying a whole new drum. So let's get started. First things first is going to be to get this drum head off. I should only need to worry about the one, which makes things a little easier. Also, one of these tension rods already fell out, so that's one less piece to worry about. We're going to use our handy drum key drill bit to get this off here. Adjust that camera angle. And there we go. And typically, I would be an advocate of loosening the tension on the drum before you use the drill bit key, but given as this drum and this drum head, by extension, aren't going to be used for anything anytime soon, we just went ahead and did it the fast way. Right. Now that we've got the drum head off, we can get this mount off, which shouldn't be too difficult. We've got two Phillips head screws here, and those just mount to the interior of the drum with these hex nuts. First off, grab socket. Yep, just about 10 millimeters. And of course we need a screwdriver. I'm going to use this larger Phillips head bit. Part is done. There's our mount. Got a couple extra pieces that go with it on the inside. Now we can set this drum aside and put it back on the shelf it belongs on. Now we've got the more difficult part. First thing to do is get all these tension rods off and rims. As you can see, this head not in great shape. Head can go straight to the garbage. Alright, so now that we've got that off, we can start working on putting the new holes we will need in. So I think what I would like to shoot for is mount probably on this face. That way, if it's mounted directly onto the rack here, the throw off is on the player's right hand side. Or maybe this would be more effective on the left, if it was needed. Yeah, I think we'll do here on the left side, and that way the badge is also facing the audience. So we're going to need a drill bit that can drill slightly bigger than this bolt. Of course, you always want to measure and mark your holes before doing that. So let me go find a marker and we'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and did my measuring and drawing off camera. A little hard to see in this lighting. We've got our 2 holes here and here. Now, a professional probably would take more steps to preserve the stain on this drum, but this Premier drum is old, hasn't been used in who knows how many years, and I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy doing this in a basement so we can have a functioning instrument for our marching band season. So we're going to go ahead and start by drilling pilot holes. Always pays to take it slow. You don't want to damage more than is absolutely necessary. Alright, so we've got our pilot holes. Now we're going to take a look at a bigger size bit. I think I'm going to try this 7/32 bit first and then move up to a 1/4 inch if that's not big enough. Clean that up later. Not quite big enough, so we'll go up to the 1/4 inch. That's generally my process with this sort of thing. I don't feel like you want to drill too big of a hole, so start around where you think you'll need and go up as you need to. Apologies, I just noticed my camera hasn't been angled high enough to see the drum. So here we've got our holes, and that is the perfect size. So now we'll go ahead and put our mount together. Alright, so I did make a small mistake. I forgot to account for the inward angle that these bolts sat at on the old drum. So this brass plate didn't fit around the bolts because the bolts are drilled straight in, when on the other drum they were drilled in at an angle. So what I ended up doing was to add a second larger washer in here to kind of do the job of the plate. which is to increase the surface area of the tension being applied to the drum, so we don't take any chunks out of the drum where the mount is bolted in. So it's not the best solution. I had to kind of use what I had on hand, so I may either modify this plate and file out these holes so the bolts fit correctly, or maybe I will try to get some larger washers here, and both of those should work. This will do for now, just to get it into the testing stage. So now what we're going to do, tighten down these mounts. I don't prefer the idea of using my drill for this. I'm going to get a hand screwdriver. Screwdriver, 10mm socket. Then we're going to tighten this down until the lock washers are locked. We'll stop halfway through, do the other side. However, keeping even tension. Again, this isn't the best solution. These washers will unfortunately leave an imprint in the wood, but again, this is not a nice professional drum being used in a it's outdoor marching band. So this sort of thing is something we'll be able to get away with. You know, I'd never do this to a really nice concert snare, but this was sitting abandoned on a shelf, so I think it's okay. Just this once. Alright, so now that the mount's on, we can confirm it's sturdy, it's holding the drum well. You could put a mount in here and it would do just fine. So now the next tasks are going to be finding a new top head and a new bottom head, as well as snare wires. I should have all of these things floating around, so I will return once I have found those. Alright, I am back. I found all the pieces we need to finish this up. I've got these bigger concert snare wires, so we'll give those a try, seeing as this is going to be somewhat of a concert snare rather than a drum set snare. Then I've got the batter head from the tom the mount came off of. I didn't have a normal snare batter head laying around, but that will do the job just fine until we get some new ones. And then a generic snare side head I pulled off of some other drum I upgraded long ago. So go ahead, get the bottom head fitted, line up the snare wire pattern just so it's even. Got our snare cutouts. Now we'll put that on. Alright, I'm going to use my drill bit to tighten them up most of the way, just to speed this along. Now generally I'd recommend not putting any tension on the head while using that bit. I'm sure it wouldn't necessarily break anything, but better safe than sorry in my opinion. Now we're going to start putting tension on it. So this is a bottom side head. I typically just crank these. That's a decent starting point. Now, since this is temporary, normally I'd spend more time actually tuning it, but this is proof of concept for now, and we'll put new heads on it somewhere down the road. So the goal is to get it playable, not perfect. Alright, last thing to do is get the snares on. These straps are made from pieces of the drum head we pulled off earlier. And there we have it. Functioning snare drum. Might not sound pretty, but we can mount it and our aux player will have an instrument. Thank you for watching. If you like this, check out my other video where I did something similar on a bass drum, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.